It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas everywhere you go. Hey, everybody, welcome to Dad's Den of Pop Culture in a very special episode, as we're going to be flipping through the 50th edition of Sears Holiday Wishbook. This is from 1982. I kind of teased this on another stream. I didn't have a lot to really talk about this particular live in the den, so it works out great. But I thought we would just sort of take a little trip down memory lane for some of us, and maybe for a few of us, something new to see. I got this about a couple weeks ago. I've been wanting to get one of these for a while, and I might try to maybe make it kind of an annual thing of maybe snagging one of these things every year. Probably I would go sort of from my childhood, which would be kind of 76, 77 to about maybe 84 or so. So we might do some others of these. Yeah, check out that Donkey Kong machine. I know. And of course, for folks who weren't around, it typically wasn't like, it didn't look like the arcade game. It was, these things were usually just sort of a very simplified version of these deals. And by the way, so the Donkey Kong electronic game is $60. So I thought one thing that'd be kind of fun to do with this, and I've already done it with one of them, is to sort of convert the pricing. So let me see here. Here's my CPI calculator. $1 in, come on, baby, work for me. Thank you. $1 in 1982. Boop, boop, boop. Is the equivalent of about $3.50 today. So what that means is you're going to want to multiply these prices by, really, I'd just say multiply by 3, but it'd probably be a little bit more than that. So understand that this game here would cost you about $180 back then, the equivalent of $180. This is going to mean something when we get to a page in particular that has a VCR on it that will probably freak you out. Oh, look at that. Precious Moments, right? Is that Precious Moments? No. Is it? My wife would probably know if that's what that was. I don't think it is, but it might be. I'm pointing this out just because my mother-in-law loved these things. Let's see. Porcelain Children's Nativity Set. Yeah, it doesn't say a name on it. But yeah, she loved Precious Moments. And you may not hear this from a lot of people, but I loved my mother-in-law quite a bit. She was an amazing woman and a really good woman. So, yeah, no wonder you never had one, right? I'm telling you what, man. It's amazing stuff, right? That I know people are going through a lot of financial stresses these days. And to be honest with you, there's very few years in American or just human history where people are not going through a lot of financial stresses. It's actually pretty common. By the way, you notice these gift ideas under $10, gift ideas under $30. So they're trying to, like, the opening pages are sort of for folks who, have to grab some things for people, but don't necessarily want to spend a massive amount of money on it. I think that might be Geraldo Rivera up there. No, it's not Geraldo Rivera. But at any rate, people are usually going through more financial stress than you would think. Oh, dude, I totally remember those blocks. I never had any. I would only ever see them like if we were at somebody's house who had littler kids. But I do remember those giant. They were like, I think they're usually cardboard. They're huge. Anybody remember those things? It was cardboard, but it looked kind of like a brick. Randy says his father-in-law just passed. Really hilarious. Yeah. Sorry to hear that, man. Man away, man of war. Yeah. Is that a doorstop? Not just a fruitcake. Look, I'm actually a person who, we'll get to the TSR section, man of war. Don't worry. Although that's That's further back in here. And I've actually, this tells you something about life. I've actually flagged the page. There's like one page with some lingerie on it, and I'm like, I don't want to get hassled by YouTube, so I will skip that page. And I was going through the whole catalog, like, I don't know if they're going to have a picture of kids in underoos, but I don't want that on the stream because that will just lead to more problems than I can deal with. I didn't see any, so hopefully I won't discover one. But yeah, I know there's always the jokes about fathers-in-law, mothers-in-law. I was blessed with a really good father-in-law and mother-in-law, and I love them a great deal. And it is actually, my wife and I were talking, it's Pearl Harbor Day today. Obviously, God bless all those men who were taken from us on that day. But it is also the anniversary of my mother-in-law passing away. So I guess that's also partly why she's on my mind. But at any rate, we talk about, people being under financial stress these days. And obviously they are. But a lot of stuff that people have nowadays are, in relative terms, a lot cheaper. Oh my God, I would have gone crazy for this. A lot cheaper now than they were back then. It depends on the item. But electronics for sure. When people were buying VCRs and things like that back in the day, it was taking a much bigger chunk out of their wallets than it does for a lot of stuff nowadays, And like I said, we'll get to a page. I'll show you a VCR, and it's like you look at the price, and then you realize what it would be in today's dollars. And you're like, holy crap, it's amazing. But yet, look at, dude. So I loved Hot Wheels and stuff like that, but I absolutely was in love with anything like police or fire or military in terms of those kind of toys. And I would have gone, this is a 10-piece highway patrol set, which I'm guessing is partly being thrown out there because of chips, although it doesn't look like the California Highway Patrol colors. But Highway Patrol was a big thing at the time. $10 for the set. So $30 for what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. For 10. So $3 a pop, which is probably about what things like that would still cost. Raimi still collects. Is that what's a Hot Wheel go for these days? Is it like about $3 or so or more? But it's not a bad price. But I can still remember. And this will, like, at the weirdest times, this will kind of pop into my head. Usually if I'm kind of like stressed, where your brain, $1.50. Okay, so a little more expensive back then. Of course, now they're not made, I don't think they're made quite as well nowadays, are they? I know a lot are made in China. They don't have like the detail they used to have on the bottom of them. I've heard people talk about that, but at any rate, now I've totally lost my train of thought too. Yeah, well, highway patrol vehicles will do that to me. But anyhow, we'll go through it. Now here is some underwear, but nobody's wearing it, so we're safe. We should be safe with that. What is number 1 here? Is that just an AM portable pocket radio for $5? That's probably about right. Oh, still made in Malaysia. Okay, all right. I wonder if that's a holdover, because it wasn't, Matchbox was British. Matchbox was UK, right? And I think Hot Wheels was maybe a US thing, but so I guess that doesn't matter. I was going to say, I wonder if Malaysia was because of the old British Empire and making stuff in Hong Kong. I wonder if it moved over there. But now when I think about it, I think what I'm talking about is completely bonkers and nuts and doesn't make any sense. So just ignore it. If I was making a video, I would have edited that part out so I didn't sound stupid. The pop-up Toys R Us in our last remaining local mall had 6 packs of oddball Hot Wheels for $12. Barnes & Noble had the same for $9. All right. Yeah, Hong Kong. Yeah, dude, everything was made in Hong Kong at one point. All the jokes now about made in China. It was made in Hong Kong back in the day. Oh, okay, so here we go. All right, here we go. This is not the page. Is it the page? Yeah, it's the page. I think this is the one I was looking about. So here we got the color video camera. So this is your old school video camera. Here, maybe I'll bring out the, let me make sure is that the one? Okay, this one's $1,500. And if you buy the camera and VCR together, it's $2,200. Here's one, camera and VCR for $1,700, $939 for this camera. So like, get a better look, sort of. Well, maybe not that better a look after all. So I think you could see my face maybe in the reflection. Any rate, if we just look at like this portable 3-way powered VCR, all right, it's basically $1,200. So you work your magic with the CPI, and you're basically in the probably 30, what? Maybe let's see. So times 3, 12, maybe 36. Yeah, you're probably bumping up on about $4,000. So $4,000 for a VCR. $4,000 for a VCR. That was a big freaking deal. If mom and dad were, again, if they weren't rich, but even if they were rich, $4,000, it was a big deal to get a VCR back in the day. The VCR DVD combo that I have sitting on my old TV in the back where you can't see at the moment, I got it for $1.99 at a thrift store, right? Now it was not from this era, and it probably would have been cheaper, when it was being sold, because obviously as these things sell, the manufacturers find ways to get the prices down and be more efficient. So here we goes another one. So this one's $788. So, it might've been cheaper, but it was a big deal to get things like this. It really, really was. Yeah. Ramey says he didn't have a VCR till 1988. It took a while for us to get one. And I got to say, the one that my parents bought, they used it for probably a couple decades at a minimum. It was pretty good quality. A lot of these were good quality back then, and they would last, especially if you kind of took care of them. But it took us a while. I can remember our neighbors across the street, who were like practically part of the family for us. They had a VCR, and I remember they would go on vacation for a couple weeks, like in the summer. And, our family would watch the house. We'd go over there, and they had a dog. So we'd go over and hang out with the dog and, make sure it's fed. And I would take care of the guy's pigeons. I remember that. He'd pay me like $20, which was a big deal for, a kid. But the biggest deal of all was we would go rent some videotapes from a little place called Captain Video, that actually the folks who owned Captain Video would later own the Major Video franchise in Vegas. And then they would take the money they got from that and start the Video Park, which is where I got my first job, strangely enough. I didn't realize that until years later, talking with people, finding out they actually owned the Captain Video. But so we'd go get some videotapes and then go over and watch videotapes on their VCR. And it was like, it was so cool. I totally remember. That was the first time I watched the Ralph Bakshi Lord of the Rings. Rented that videotape and watched. Oh my God. I was like, it was so rad, especially because at that point, at that age, I had only read the second book in the Lord of the Rings. I read the Two Towers. So I had never read the Fellowship of the Ring. That was like my introduction to that part of the story. I can also distinctly remember getting Mel Brooks' History of the World and seeing that and watching it with nobody around, so I didn't get in trouble when the boobs showed up. And what was who out there remembers Holy Moses with Dudley Moore? That was sort of like a History of the World style movie, only about the Bible. I remember watching that one on videotape too. I don't know why. I guess it was such a big deal that it burned into my brain. Hey, Fins, thank you, man, for showing up. Awesome. So here we got some TVs. Oh, I love these console TVs. Kind of similar to what I got sitting behind me in here, although the one I got is from, probably at least a decade and a half after these, but it's still basically console. And we had a Curtis Mathis when I was a kid like these. What was it? Let's see. Lowest price ever, blah, 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 blah. I'm not seeing like the brand on it, unless I'm just blind. Well, Sears Best. Maybe Sears had their own sort of brand they did with people. But you can see these TVs. They were big, chunky dudes. But, $790, $560. So, if you're looking $800, you're talking about $2,400 for a TV? $2,400 for a TV. Telling you what. Man of War says his cousin had the second generation Sony Betamax that took 4 minutes to pack mule to carry. His first cassette was Alien for $89. Yeah. Yeah, apparently Top Gun was the first movie that went, at sell-through price. And I remember when Batman 89 came out at sell-through, because I was at the video store at that time. And dude, that movie sold like freaking hotcakes. And I think between those two films is when Hollywood, the studios were like, oh, wait a minute. If we sell these tapes for like $20, then we'll sell like 1 billion of them instead of selling them for like $90. Because that's why video stores existed. The videos were so dang expensive for just regular people. Video store, you buy a bunch of these things, you rent them out, they pay for themselves. All right, so these are Philco. Okay, Sears had a deal with Philco. Wow, you know what? I don't think I realized Philco was still making TVs in the 80s. I sort of remember them as being more from, like the 50s and stuff. They had a sponsorship on some old 50s, like or 40s and 50s radio show. I can't remember which one it was. Dude, I love these old TVs. I know, it's like, but the picture's not as good. And I'm like, I just love the TV that was, didn't have 40 things you had to select to get to things. You just turned it on, clicked a couple, tick, tick to get to a different channel, and you were pretty much there. So you usually had a branding deal version. Yeah, that makes sense, because it's kind of like the grocery stores where you have like Kroger brand, but Kroger doesn't make it. It's actually a major brand. Kroger just puts its name on it. And because they put their name on it, they could sell it for less. So it's just a way to get the same stuff for cheaper. All right, so here we go, man. Stereo cassette player, AM, FM, stereo radio, $80. $250 basically for a Walkman. But that's kind of a bigger one. These $50, $30, but you're still like, these are just AM, FM radios. That one's a cassette player. So $150. Yeah, $150 for one of those. Oh, here's the cool little TVs. Look at that. It's a TV, radio, and micro cassette player recorder all in one. Okay, that's pretty rad. I want one of those now. That was $300. Dude, I would love to get something like that and hook it up at work. Like with a modern, you probably couldn't do it because that has a built-in aerial. You probably couldn't hook the modern aerials up to it. Philcos were bulletproof. Yeah, those old TVs. That Curtis Mathis that we had, that thing lasted just about forever. Although I can remember there was one summer, like right before summer vacation, it had a problem. I think it was the picture tube went out. So you could hear it. You could turn it on and you could hear the TV, but you couldn't see anything. And, for a Gen X kid, having no TV for an entire summer break, because we didn't have the money to fix it right away, because it was lean. It was lean. Amazon has a modern version of a TV radio for I might have to look into that. That'd be kind of fun. I am like in my workplace, very modern kind of folks for the most part. Even the old ones or people older than me are more modern than I am. So I'm like the dose of retro. Back when the TV was also the TV stand. Yeah. I'm like the dose of retro in my office. So I proudly, I carry a thermos, an old God, I don't know what year. It was probably from the 70s or 80s that my wife found for me. I get about 2-3 cups of coffee out of it. So I bring an old thing. I used to bring an old lunchbox to work because that's just how my brain works. It's what I like. But it would be very on brand for Stater to have a friggin' TV, old TV sitting on his desk that I could, I don't know, throw on like Adam 12 or whatever's playing on one of those channels. Yeah. All right. Here we get the alarm clocks. I know I can't linger too much because you can see how thick this thing is. And I could probably turn this into a 10-hour stream if I wanted to. Oh, look at that though. That's rad. With the turntable. Look at those speakers. Woofers. Oh, love that stuff. The turntable, and turntables, they're coming back in. They're back. My daughter plays a lot of records. She's into it. The reality is vinyl actually gives you a deeper, warmer sound than you get off of CDs, and certainly more so than you get off of streaming music. It's handy to be able to stream music, and it's nice to have all that stuff because records took up a lot of space, which I can attest to. I got probably more of them in the house than I actually need. But, the vinyl's back, but the vinyl's kind of works. Now, I don't think videotapes will ever be back 100%. But there's moves that direction to getting some VHS out there again for people. Finns is asking if I got my 20. Yeah, I do. I do have the 2600 Plus hooked up. Well, I hooked it up once to play with it. I just got the little plug-in thing that I need so that I can keep it plugged in because I didn't want to have to keep moving my my phone charger around. So that just showed up with something else from Amazon yesterday. I opened it up, so I should be able to get it because I haven't played Dig Dug yet. I got Pac-Man and I got Dig Dug. I haven't messed with the Dig Dug one yet. I gotta be honest though, that controller was killing me with Pac-Man. I was doing terrible, and I'm not the world's greatest Pac-Man player, but I'm better than that. And I have to admit, I'm sort of looking at those controllers that I was showing off last week, going. They're a little expensive, so I don't think I'll probably end up doing it, but it's a little tempting because that one, it was kind of tight. So it was really hard to get the, I'm mimicking the arcade, forget it. But yeah. Okay. So yeah, Lady Wendolyn is saying I need to loosen the thing up. I do. I just need to play with it more. I need to play with my joystick more, everybody. My wife told me anyways. So, all right, let's get through some electronics here. So we're looking at a lot of that stuff. And then we go, here's like the kids' electronics. Dancing Pooh with some Winnie the Pooh records. That's pretty rad. But remember, they used to have these. I did a whole video on a superhero themed old record player, which did work. It did work, but I mean, the speaker was a little bit shot. I don't think you could hardly understand it. Here I am telling about what was on a video review that I did, and I don't remember how it worked because I make so many damn videos. Here we got the guitars. Dude, basically Sears catalog back in the day. There's some organs. If you want to play with your... Now, we'll stop with the innuendo here. But this was basically Amazon, You got the Amazon website sent to you every, 2 or 3 times a year. I'm trying to think how often they sent these out, but and it was fun, man. It was like window shopping. So here you got the radios shaped like other things: hamburger, hot dog, Pepsi, Coors. Dude, that's so crazy. So let's see. Pepsi bottle is, how much is that? $10. So these all range from about $7 to $12, $7 to $13. Still a little expensive, but that was something for, I remember there's an old commercial for the teen in your life, this hamburger radio. Yeah. How about the Coors though? That's so great. Heavy. Oh yeah, dude. I have tinnitus too. And I didn't even do that stuff, Man of War. I got it big time, yeah. Going to grandma's portable record player with 33 records. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I just think, though, it's cool that kids are getting a chance. Oh, dude. I've been wanting to get a short sleeve dress shirt to wear into work in the summertime, just as a joke. Telling you what. Oh, you can get these babies monogrammed. Little APK, Alex P. Keaton action. Family. You can get your little... Oh, it's a monogram there. You can get your monograms on your little family sweaters. You've got individuality, so why not dress up like everybody else in your family? We were just talking about this the other day. We were trimming the tree, and I was actually kind of flipping through this catalog a little bit. And I'm like going, I can't dress up like everybody else in my family for a photo. I can't do it. I'm too damn independent. Oh, that's cool. Are those like hook rugs? Hook rugs with your family heraldry. Holy crap. I need one of those. Glassware with handcut. So this is all like stuff you can get monogrammed. Oh, here we go. Cheryl Teague's Holiday Glamour. This pose was so freaking big from like the late 60s into obviously the 80s. And I swear you do not see it anymore. But for a while, models in that kind of pose, that was a big thing. Lady Wendolyn, made my Christmas list for the parents every year. I was very helpful and would give them the page number and item number. Yeah, I know. And then eventually you were so helpful that you would actually just buy the stuff for them and wrap it for them and put your name on it. Yeah, I know you, woman. I know what's going on. Monogram shirt, sleeveless sweater. Oh, God, yeah. Collecting habit, just for me, between floods and fires of vinyl. Yeah. Oh, you're absolutely right. Vinyl doesn't make as much sense for a lot of reasons. But, you know, I think it's cool that kids are getting into it. Just seeing it's like, yeah, you know what? These things actually work. They're old, but the technology still functions just fine. But also, I think if you were, you know, what are my top 10 records? And I'll grab those on vinyl. You know, I'll get my top 10 on vinyl and not everything else. So it's kind of fun. But yeah, it's really much more of it's kind of a goof at this point. Levi's bend over clothes at Sears. Huh. We'll just let that go. I'm coming up close on the lingerie section that I need to probably skip. You know, one thing about 82 though, or once you were getting into the early 80s, there's some goofy clothes, but it's not quite as like fun, goofy clothes to, you know, as like the 70s, where you can kind of sit and laugh at them a lot. They're just, you know, they're obviously not quite what people are wearing nowadays, but you know, it's a sweater and oh God, that's not a skirt. Those are like culottes. You know what? Culottes are a little weird. Coloring classics. All right, let's get through. Oh yeah, holy moly. I'm way off from that. Yeah, we don't need to go through all the women's clothes. It's going to take forever. Boom. Phasar quartz watches with full 1-year warranty. Another technology that just doesn't get used all that much anymore. There's the digital dudes up there. But that was a pretty standard gift you could get for people back in the day. What are these things? Look at that gold colored watch with square case. $135. Oh, dude, the shoulder pads. Oh, loose leaf paper and pencils to each of us every year for that exact reason, Man of War. Yeah. Oh, yeah. What we would do with these things, and now, look, I won't lie to you. I'll be transparent. I think I paid about $40 for this catalog on eBay. These things go for more than you would think because they used to get thrown out. So there's, you know, not a massive number of them that have survived. But I'm like, I've always wanted one. This was 82, and the picture on eBay showed the page with the particular toys that I wanted to be able to show off. So I'm like, oh, it looks like it's in good shape interior-wise. I'm going to do it. And I'm going to get a video out of it, so it'll be worthwhile. So I'm going for it. But we used to, we just circle stuff that we wanted and like fold the pages for mom to be able to find. And then what we would do, like when the new catalogs would come out, because we used to keep them in our like coffee table, had a little cabinet thing. So I remember these were always in there. When the new ones would come out, mom would take the old ones and she'd give them to us, and we would go through and draw mustaches on people and black out their teeth and, all that kind of crap with all the women. So there's nothing funnier than a woman in lingerie with a mustache. Well, I mean, we used to think that. Now I'm not so sure, but and the fact that you know what culottes are. I grew up with a sister. And also, frankly, culotte is a funny word. So culotte sort of stuck in my head. But we would draw on these things and then just throw them away. So that's why it was like, now that I know how much they're worth, like, God, you fool. Should have been, grabbing all these things and storing them in your closet or something. We got some music boxes, a lot of girly stuff, jewelry boxes. Telling you what, all these pages wasted on girly stuff. Young girls, no, you weren't buying. No, it was stuff for young girls. Tinkerbell toiletries and grooming accessories. Oh, there we go. There we go. Is that what I think it is? Radio watch, AM radio in a watch. You hook your little headphones up to it. That, my friends, is the freaking future. And that's $35. That's about $100 in today's dollars. Here we got the Pac-Man watch. See if I can get this to work a little better. There we go. There's the Pac-Man watch. And I think I knew somebody who had one of those. I seem to remember playing with one of those once, but I know I didn't own one. Oh my God, Dukes of Hazzard game watch for $30. It's got to be one of these. I'm trying to look at it like, I don't know that I see anything about it that looks particularly Dukes of Hazzard-ish, but oh, that is cool. That is cool. And, nowadays you got basically the equivalent, but way better. Although I wonder, could you sell, just as kind of a gimmick, could you sell a watch that actually had like the arcade look of Pac-Man on it? Because technologically, you could probably do that nowadays. You could maybe sell a few of those the Christmas season. Oh, folks, we are in 82, so we are in Star Wars territory. Here we got the Star Wars alarm clocks. What are those going for? $22. And here's the shampoo. Vader, R2. Of course, we're in Empire Strikes Back territory, so we got Yoda, Luke Skywalker in his X-Wing outfit. Here's the Star Wars watches. Of course, I wanted every one of those things. It could have been, dude, if it was a bag of dog shit with, but had Star Wars on the bag, I probably would have been like, I want that. But son, it's just, I don't care. It's Star Wars. Star Wars. Raimi wants a tiara. All right. There's nothing wrong with that, dude. Sometimes a guy wants to feel like a princess. What can you say? We got Holly Hobby alarm clocks. Holly Hobby was so huge back in the day. Of course, Sesame Street. Men's flannel nightshirts. Because, that wasn't over yet. Norelco clean air machine for all the smokers out there. I can remember the commercials for that. I don't know if it was Norelco. I think it was Ronco, but same basic concept. So here we got some nightwear, some luggage, big back in the day. You don't see like huge sets of luggage anymore. That was a thing. Spirited fashion footwear. Oh, check out the boots. I can see the Baroness wearing something like that. I mean, just when she's out with Destro, for a movie and dinner. Because obviously they're not going to go out in their Cobra outfits. Oh, dude, check it out. There's Pac-Man, slippers for kids, Snoopy. Sesame Street. You know, I will say though, like if you're looking at modern day stuff, you're going to probably get some Sesame Street. You're going to probably get some Snoopy. I mean, those brands are like, oh, there you go. The Ronco smokeless ashtray. Yeah. Oh, dude, Ramey, props to the photographer who shot this. But think about it. Think about the amount of work that went into this kind of stuff. Because they weren't just, they weren't snapping photos with a phone or something like we do for eBay or, more or less what you get on Amazon nowadays. Like you had to have an actual photographer. Oh, dude, check those out. You had to have an actual photographer in a studio with all the lighting and everything to get all this stuff right. The amount of photos you had to take. Oh, there you go. Look at that stud muffin. The amount of photos you would have had to take to fill this catalog is really pretty incredible. The amount of money that went in and printing all of these and mailing all of these. And it made money is the thing. It made money. It made sense. I swear my mom had slippers like that when I was a kid at some point. I remember that, like that patchwork design really rings a bell. Did we get some short shorts? Because that's how we rolled back in the day. I think we're coming up maybe on some football, NFL stuff. Oh, see those. Now these were upsetting even when I was a kid. We don't need that. We've moved on. Actually, we probably haven't. At least it's not those footy pajamas that grown men were trying to get away with some years back. Hopefully we stamped that out. Here we get some nice, little valets for your wallet and all your manly stuff. Little roll top going there. The leather wallets. I got an old leather wallet. Somebody gave me, I don't know if it was like Christmas or I threw up on John Holmes. It did look like John Holmes a little bit. Definitely a guy needs a longer robe too, just to be careful. But I got this leather wallet. It's got to be like 30 years old. And that thing is still in fine shape. I'm telling you. Okay, here we get the traditional pose of a man in a suit with the little arm out. He always had the arm out so they could show the cuff. Here's my dog barking in the background. I don't know if you heard that or not. All right, got some coordinating rugged wear. Look at the action separates. It's kind of like the the Da Vinci drawing of the. Yeah. All right, let's get through some of this stuff. To get the good stuff. We got to get to the good stuff, and we know what the good stuff is. We knew it when we were kids. The good stuff was that Levi's branding. Dude, I wore shorts like that when I was a kid. Probably not quite into teen years. They were starting to get longer and baggier when I was in high school, but I definitely wore that stuff when I was a kid. McGregor Whisper Touch shirt. Oh, we got some turtleneck sweaters. Because if you were going to be an assassin back in the 70s and 80s, you wanted to have that turtleneck sweater. You can't be shooting people when you have a cold neck. It just doesn't work. We got the jeans. Oh, here we got a little NFL. Okay. All right. So the man, the myth, the legend. Yeah, folks, unless it's sort of photoshopped, that is Joe Montana himself sporting the short shorts. Number 16. Dude, Montana was fun to watch back then. I'm telling you, I'm not saying like that, but in his full gear on the football field, Joe Montana was a fun player to watch. He was one of those guys where, like, unless you had like a team 100%, you kind of become a 49ers fan a little bit. Same with Michael Jordan with the Bulls. If you didn't have a basketball team, for a while there, you sort of became a Bulls fan just because Jordan was so amazing to watch. And here we go. We got I'd kill for a lamp like that nowadays. We still got the Oilers in the league. Falcons with the red helmet. Who do we got? Now that's interesting. That's That's the Chargers with the blue helmet. But they went to the darker blue. It had to be around that time. I seem to remember them having the darker blue helmets back then. Because this is like the Dan Fouts era. There's the old Seahawks, Eagles. Yeah, man. The Raiders, they were, let's see, in 82. I became a Raiders fan around 84 because they won a Super Bowl for me. I didn't make any bets, but I sort of, put it on the line that they were going to beat the Redskins in that Super Bowl. And they came through. Cincinnati Bengals. All right. They came through for me. I had this bedspread as a kid. And we actually found it when we were going through my dad's old house. And I don't think it was in very good shape. I don't think it had sort of survived. That's a cool one too. But yeah, I remember having that. I might have gotten it a few years later, but it was basically that same pattern. New Orleans, well, I mean, they were in the league. That's for damn sure. They were in the league in 82. Let's see, Giants, 49ers. But they don't have every team. The Browns get in there, though. And they weren't, well, actually, the Browns weren't that bad in the early 80s. Bernie Kosar. Jets, Lions, Falcons. Could the Saints not have been in the league in 82? That's not right. They've been in the league. They were in the league then. But you're right. I don't see any Saints merchandise at all. Yeah, because there's the Bucks. There's Tampa Bay. That's interesting. But I wonder, let's see, team name. I wonder if there was something going on where they couldn't, where they didn't have like a license or something. Oh, okay, here we go. There's New Orleans Saints, but they may not have it pictured. But there's the Saints. So there's something you could buy. What is that? Items H and J. Boop, boop, boop. Oh, it's one of these. Okay. They just don't have it pictured. Yeah. So, okay, there is some Saints merchandise you could order. I was going to say maybe they just kind of sucked at the time, but there you go. Saints are a year older than me, 67. Yeah, I knew they were in there. Definitely in the league, but were they really? But they got some Buccaneers merchandise showing, so it's like the Buccaneers were terrible. So if the Buccaneers can get in there, surely the Saints could too. So we got some NFL action figures. Items on these two pages are officially licensed by the NFL. Action Teammates, reduced from our 81 Christmas book, which tells you they probably weren't really selling. So those are going for $5.79 each, $2 off. So what we're talking about is close to $20, which is what a lot of action figures were still going for just a few years ago, but the tariffs have kind of changed that price. NFL Fan Van by Tonka, complete with matching football figure. That's $10. That's $10. But Bengals, Cowboys, Rams, Eagles, Steelers, 49ers. So not for everybody. But that would be a better price because then you get your figure and the van that he does not fit into. So what is, okay, that's an alarm clock, digital. That's pretty rad. If I was more organized, I would have looked some of these up. Fleece-lined waterproof boots, which you might actually want to go to a few games in the Northeast. But I would have looked some of these things up on eBay just to see what they are going for these days, if they've survived. It's kind of amazing because I was watching the old Space Patrol TV show from the 50s. And they always were doing some kind of thing where if you send in box tops, you get some stuff, right? And I found a few of those things on eBay that managed to survive. The Dreamsicles were still more popular than us. Yeah. Yeah. Finn says, not quite the same, but I remember my mom used to watch QVC when I was a kid at night. I still have a Buffalo Bills blanket she ordered. Oh, the Jim. Dude, I was briefly sort of a Buffalo Bills fan because of Jim Kelly. Because I became a Houston Gamblers fan in the USFL. See, I grew up in Vegas, so we never really had a team. So at one point it was like, well, my dad, he was from the Midwest. He rooted for the Packers. Okay. Sort of a Packers fan, sort of a Steelers fan for a little bit, became a Raider, but I just kind of moved around. But I was kind of a Jim Kelly fan from the Gamblers. And when he moved to the Bills, I was kind of a Bills fan for a little while. And that was those years where they were so freaking close and just couldn't win that Super Bowl. It was rough. Finn, man, we're talking to Finn's. My mom had one similar. Scratchy when you would take the... Oh. Yeah, QVC, man. Again, that was sort of like the Amazon of its day. And I always think if Sears and Pennies had gotten kind of wise to the internet, they probably would be dominating the way Amazon dominates today. Because they had it all there. They had the infrastructure. They could have been freaking huge if they'd gotten this catalog of theirs online as a place to sell merchandise a lot faster. There probably wouldn't be an Amazon. Remember, Amazon started off as books. They sold books. That was it. And then expanded to everything. These guys could have been so far ahead of them. Unbelievable. Who is that, Drew? I'm trying to think who that is, man. I can't read the friggin' writing, but somebody out there knows that better than I do. Authentic NFL jerseys. Playing for the Cowboys. Who was the Cowboys quarterback at the time? 82. I remember the Staubach era. And then later on, Aikman. I guess I wasn't paying that much attention to the Cowboys at the time. Anyhow, you can get your jerseys. Look how many pages there are, though, of NFL merchandise. It was big. Oh, my God. Is that the soap? Dude, somebody got me that. Like, you know, where you get Christmas presents from friends, but their mom basically went and bought the thing. I had some kind of football soap when I was a kid. I don't even remember what team it was. I don't think it was a team I even liked. Oh my God, what I remember is I think it didn't come like in this. I had some kind of thing like that came in Danny White. Oh, okay. Thank you, Man of War. I knew you'd know. It came like in a velvety sort of bag. And I remember using that for my D&D dice bag for years. God, I can't remember. This is why it's kind of fun to look at some of this stuff, because there's these things you had that you've completely forgotten about, but it's still sitting in your brain somewhere. You do notice Cowboys, 49ers, Cowboys, 49ers. Cowboys were still America's team. Oh, dude. Holy mackerel. Let's just hope that was only girls who were getting those. Some boy got that and thought it was the coolest thing in the world, and may have gotten destroyed at school the first time he wore them. Western denim perma-pressed jeans. So you know these jeans are 99% plastic fibers. Yeah, polyester and cotton twill. Okay. They're probably heavy on the polyester. And it doesn't say it's for girls, but yeah. That would have probably been a pretty rough move to make. Oh, they got Husky plus size. Back when us fat dudes were called Husky. Which I kind of prefer. So $9, $11 for the Husky. $11 for the Husky size. Sorry, guys. But, you know, takes more material. We got some nice shirts there. Remember, this, too, is the time when the coaches on the sideline are wearing suits. They're not wearing this kind of gear. You remember that a few years back? Guaranteed to melt in your heat. Yeah. Oh, my God. Dude, like I said, I grew up in Vegas, so we're talking summertime, you know, and school would get out before summer officially, but in Vegas, it's summertime by the time you get into easily early May, but sometimes even a little bit in April. It starts getting hot, basically. And it stays hot here through, you know, August, September, a little into October. So we had some hot days that we were at school, and you're talking polyester tough skin jeans on blacktop, summer sun. I mean, we're talking, it's over 100. It's probably heading towards 110 on certain days. Oh my God. We probably dropped 10 pounds a day in water weight just playing on the blacktop as kids, playing kickball, basketball. God, remember how you play basketball and your hands would smell like rubber and asphalt for like the rest of the day? You could have probably washed them 100 times and it wouldn't have helped. Dude, these jackets are still rad. I would still go for a jacket like that. Oh, check it out. The fleece. We had a buddy who had a jacket like this with the hood. And I remember him wearing it to elementary school. Probably would have been, it would have been exactly right around this period too. Because I remember us all being like, dude, that kind of looked like Han Solo's jacket from Empire. We thought it was rad. And then this one girl who was pretty big girl, decided she liked this dude. And she would drag him around the playground by his hood. So he's backwards, walking backwards as she, dragging him somewhere. And being his best friends, of course, we all stood back and laughed because, A, it was funny, and B, we weren't going to mess with that girl. She was probably a good 6 inches taller than all of us. And so he had to pay the price for a jacket with a handle, basically. And it's rough in those days. Oh, the Burt Reynolds Pontiac jacket. Hell yeah. Oh, yeah. Remember Evening Shade, Burt Reynolds show, where he played his character. He was in Arkansas. Wood Newton, that was his character. And he was a high school coach. And but he was supposedly like I don't know if he was ex-quarterback, but he used to play for the Steelers. That was the character. And he used to wear this Steelers jacket that was really cool. It was a kind of an odd shape. And I was like, can you even find those? But you try to search for a specific like NFL kind of clothing. There's no way to do that really on eBay. I just wanted to see if those jackets were even like something you could buy. Yeah, Evening Shade was a great little show, by the way. Dukes of Hazzard pajamas. Can you imagine the Dukes of Hazzard pajama robe set? Holy Lord, would you be styling asteroids? MASH. I had MASH pajamas. And there's another pair on another page that kind of look more like the ones I had. Here we got Pac-Man. We got Tron. We got G.I. Joe. Amazing Spider-Man. Some poor kid got these with the snowflakes instead of something cool like that. Oh, dude, the pajama bag. The football pajama. I remember those. I think they mostly sold those for girls. There's Smurfs, because you got to have some Smurfs. We got some clothes for boys. Telling you what, corduroys. That was another fun one on the schoolyard. And those things did not breathe at all. Holy Lord. One thing you notice in these is you get a lot more Western wear. A lot more country Western wear back in the day in these catalogs than you get nowadays. Country Western stuff was way more mainstream back then than it is now. So we're getting some more boring sort of clothing things. Oh, here we go. So I had MASH. Well, these are sweatshirts, but I had pajamas I swear looked like this. More like this than those other ones. But God, I was obsessed with MASH when I was a kid. I loved that show. Pac-Man Fever, E.T., more Duke Boys. And we got Ziggy. What does it say on there? Warning, the student body has determined that school causes homework. Oh, Ziggy. You crazy guy. At the USA. We're 2 years from the LA Olympics? Barbara Mandrell. Lone Ranger pajamas. Nice. Loved Lone Ranger when I was a kid. Boom. There's a lot of Pac-Man, a little more Ziggy, Donkey Kong. I think it's Gargamel up there. Oh, Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. So already by 82, you're getting the kid audience in on Advanced D&D. All right, now we're heading more into the kids stuff. Oh, dude, check out that belt buckle. Holy Lord. Got to get me one of those. Oh, look at the wallets. Remember those fold-up wallets? That's sort of, what was that material? I mean, it was some kind of polyester material. But I remember that. It had the crap. What is the guy who owns Ziggy he is very weird, yeah. But I'll tell you this, the Ziggy Christmas special I have found is really pretty excellent. Very touching little thing. Very touching little special. It is, honestly is. What's the word I'm looking for? The stuff that, why can't I think of the friggin' word? The word Ziploc is in my head, and I'm like, no, that's a friggin' plastic bag. Anyways, velour sweatshirts, yeah. That was big. So Smurfs. It is fun, though, to go through and see, like, what was big at the time, and how did they kind of aim it towards different... Because there is I think the first toy section you get to in here, and you can see we're rolling through the Smurfs here. Oh, look at that Smurfs drum set. How about that? Remember those? You would mix the thing up and put it in a mold sometimes, although these might be sold as is. But it was like a little, plaster statue, and then you would paint it yourself. Which, if I'm honest, I never wanted. I'm like, no, I'll take some action figures, thank you. I do not want to paint something. I just want to play with a Millennium Falcon. I didn't get that. Oh, Space Shuttle. Right, there's Disney still big. Pooh Bear still big. Candyland. Oh, that's kind of cool. These are the slumber bags. Yeah. Crayola crayon. Oh, Benji. Good old Benji. Strawberry Shortcake. Bugs Bunny's still getting in there. Of course, Barbie and Hot Wheels. Dude, Barbie just keeps rolling. Here we got some superheroes. Dukes of Hazzard, Popeye, Pac-Man. I always remember that one Pac-Man drawing. They kind of moved away from that image of Pac-Man. Well, in fact, there he is at the bottom, looking completely different. Wonder Woman, Spidey, Superman. I'm actually kind of surprised Batman's not in there, because Batman was still probably the more popular character. Oh, Annie. Holy Lord, Annie. Every single talent show. The sun will come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there'll be sun. Oh, God. That New York. Girls were obsessed with that. Oh, my God, you could get an Annie wig. Well, I would buy the Annie wig. I would do that. I always feel like if you could just, wear something like that into work someday, and act like you're not doing something weird, and just see how people react to it. They start to laugh at your hair, and you're like, what? What's wrong with my hair? I think it looks okay, right? Never mind. Especially nowadays, because everybody's afraid of getting sued. They probably would be afraid to say anything. Dude, look at I wonder, is this like the girl who played Annie, or did they just find some girl who looked like her? I have no idea. But yeah, Annie got quite the resurgence. Look how many pages. Oh, now we're going into Snoopy territory. Oh, dude, check it out. Is that like, oh yeah, it's like, because it's got Spike on it. It's like Snoopy in the West. What a Snoopy Wild West. There are going to be some miniatures coming, Man of War. I did paint those. Yeah, I did paint those. Mostly Citadel. Because frankly, the one nice thing about the Warhammer minis was they were just a little bit bigger and a little chunkier. And I was not the most skilled artiste in the world, so having something slightly larger that I could paint was kind of nice. In fact, since I'm not on camera at the moment, let's see. Oh, if I can get to it. Oh. All right, I have one painted mini that's actually reachable. Oh my God, is it dusty though? So here is it? It's just barely stuck in this stand too. Here we go. There's one that I painted back in the day. Kind of like an ogre mercenary captain. So like I wasn't terrible, at painting these things, but dude, you remember White Dwarf back in the day. Oh my God. The talent that those guys had was just like, and if you've never painted a miniature before, you're like, well, I can do that. Then you start trying and you're like, oh, I can't do that. Yeah, I didn't do the testers. I did have like the Citadel. I did have the Citadel paints. We had a shop that's actually only about, well, it's gone now, but it's only about like a minute away from where I live at the moment. But where I used to live, it was a little further, but it was on the way from home to work at one point, because I got into this stuff in high school. Is when I started getting into the Warhammer stuff. So it was pretty convenient. It was a game store, had miniatures. They had models there. They had some, role-playing game stuff like that. And so it was pretty convenient. I was able to get some decent paints. But I couldn't do the real detail work. I couldn't do it. And I tried pretty hard, but I've kind of, what I basically did was I figured out a way that I could paint miniatures that they would look decent on the table, even though, let's be honest, 90% of our stuff on the table was not painted. Oh, dude, you can get a little dog bed for your, well, I guess that's just dog stuff. I thought it was Snoopy branded. I guess that one is. Dude, if I tried to get my dog to lay on that thing now, he'd think I was trying to kill him. We got the weirdest dog. He is so odd. He won't, like if a flat piece of wood on the ground, he won't step on it. I don't know why. He's like afraid of it. Like it's a portal into another universe. So what I would do when he was younger, especially, he'd like have a Frisbee in his mouth. I'd grab it and I'm trying to get the Frisbee out of his mouth. And he's not letting go. I would kind of walk him where he would have to walk across the wood and he would drop it. He was like, I'm not walking across that wood, buddy. So yeah. It's those Gen Z dogs. Yeah, Gen Z dogs are just as weird as Gen Z kids. I don't know what the deal is. Hub Hobby was our store. It moved post-Katrina, but it's still open. That's cool. Now strictly models and trains. They got away from all the things, gaming and miniatures. Yeah. There was kind of a boom for a while in that stuff, and then it sort of died away. So here's the strawberry shortcake stuff. My sister was into that stuff. I remember one of the strawberry shortcake dolls, though. I don't remember which one it was, but I remember thinking it smelled good. They had like a smell to them. They had like a permanent perfume. I don't know, probably not permanent. It's probably gone now, but I do remember like, this is dumb girl stuff. It smells kind of good though. It smells like food. Hey, I wasn't husky back then, but I was well on my way. I was a husky man trapped in a normal-sized kid's body at the day and back in those days. So, the food smells still worked for me. There's like a bunch of records and there's like, what are those? Just Playhouse books. Okay, I was like, but those aren't 8 tracks, are they? That would have been rad. But yeah, Strawberry Shortcake got a lot of pages here. I'm kind of impressed. Dress your kid up like a clown. It's fun. Girl clothes. We got some E.T. Pac-Man. Girls were lame, but even they were smart enough to know that Pac-Man was rad. I don't think you'd get another like Pac-Man type craze probably until Mario. All right, let's see. Bunch of girl clothes. There's some kid stuff at least. The usual. Look at all the Pac-Man merch. God, there's a lot. Dukes of Hazzard. Dukes of Hazzard was really coming into its own at that point in time. And it started in, 79? I still hate patchouli. I'll be honest with you. I actually kind of like the smell of that. I know. I have everything, like, to be a hippie, except I can't even remotely accept the politics. So, yeah. And at one point in my life, I had the long hair going, all that good stuff. All right, let's see. Let's get into the toys. Unless you guys really want to look at dining sets. If anybody here wants to look deep dive into the dining sets, let me know. I'll go back. I promise. Okay, some of this stuff is kind of cool though. Remember as a kid, you was like, I want a gumball thing. That would be rad. I had a plastic one. I remember that looked like Mickey Mouse. And then years later, where did I get that thing? Somebody was getting rid of one, and I realized it was the exact model they used to make Tom Servo's head on Mystery Science Theater. So I had the Tom Servo head for a long time. I probably should have kept that. Here we got the fruitcakes, which I have to admit, I've kind of learned to like fruitcake. But not all of them. But I sometimes will embark on that kind of thing of like, I'm going to conquer fruitcake. I'm going to develop a taste for fruitcake, no matter what. And I did manage to do that. So I do get a little fruitcake at the Christmas time. Here we got like the summer sausage. Dude, who else remembers Hickory Farms? Man, they used to put a whole, like they went from having a permanent location in malls to it would pop up during Christmas time to it's still out there, but you got to look for it. But my wife will still get me a little Hickory Farms thing every year for Christmas. Roll up with that. You take you like the cracker and you put like a summer sausage slice on it, little hunk of the smoky cheddar. Throw those bad boys into the microwave. Oh, that's good eating. I am literally the only person I've ever been like, okay, but here's the thing about fruitcake, right? Everybody now knows that fruitcake is no good. It gets made fun of. And that was me, right? I had never tried fruitcake in my life. And I know, obviously, people make fun of fruitcake. Fruitcake is no good. And then it occurs to me one day, what if fruitcake actually isn't that bad? Because comedians will pick all sorts of things to make fun of that turn out to actually be pretty cool. So I'm like, I'm going to try me some fruitcake. And I was like, okay, it's like candied fruits, some nuts. You could maybe get one that has like a little bit of a bourbon thing going or what have you. And I'm like, it's actually kind of okay. It's like a Christmas pudding, from, kind of old fashioned UK Christmas puddings. And I'm like, that's not bad, but obviously not every one. Yeah, I brainwashed myself. The rule apparently is, if you eat anything, I want to say it's like 20 to 25 times, you will develop a taste for it. And it is true. It's how I got myself into drinking wine. It's how I got myself into drinking coffee, because I was trying to get away from soda and stuff, pop. And so I'm like, I need to drink coffee. That would be a good black. I'd got to drink it black, because if I'm adding sugar and stuff to it, then I'm no better off than I was. And I'm like, one day I'm like, all right, I'm going in, and started. It was actually, I was at some kind of work conference thing, and they had like a little coffee maker in my hotel room. So I'm like, screw it, I'm going for it. And I started brewing coffee and drinking it, and actually pretty quickly on it, I'm like, I like this. It's good. But I never grew up drinking it. So I thought, oh, coffee's bitter. So if you eat something enough times, you will develop a taste for it, usually. So the way I look at it is, now I've added fruitcake to my repertoire. Here's one more unhealthy thing that I can eat every Christmas. Back to the whole, husky adult thing. Remember these popcorn tins, though? Speaking of stuff you shouldn't eat. I remember getting those sometimes. That was rad. You had like the caramel and the cheese and the normal popcorn. Oh, those things are cool. All right, fireplaces. We don't need to look too much at fireplaces. Well, these are handy for beating people. No. Little ornaments. All right, we got to skip through. Oh, here's the fake Christmas trees. There's some more kitchenware. Okay, hey, that is cool. Look at that Pac-Man. I could go for that mug. Dude, you ice that thing up. That would be pretty badass. What do we got here, though? Okay. Oh, dude, cookie press. Okay, so this week, I have a video where I'm looking at my mom's old cookie press from the 70s, because that's always how we made Christmas cookies. And it looks kind of like this. It's a little nicer than that. I don't know exactly what year it came from, but we kind of figured out it had to be like mid 70s at least. But I actually shot the video last year before we put the thing away, and it's been just sitting there for a year now. I got to edit it still probably, but cool. Putting my son's CDs up in new house, and he has a lot of them. Billy Idol, Lionel Richie, Dio. Nice. All right. So here we go. Some more kitchen electronics. Not that into that. Vacuum. Anybody want to look at vacuum cleaners? No. Oh, see, now I need a bike like this. I do. I want to get just like an exercise bike that is not, super teched out. I want the lowest tech version you could possibly find. I need to get one of those. Check out the friggin' beanbag chairs. Ooh, okay. Little foot. Oh, dude, you can get a go-kart in the Sears catalog. That's kind of rad. Oh, here's all the wrenches and stuff too. All right, let's get through that. Bikes. Oh, there's the guns. Yeah. Used to be able to just order that stuff easily through a catalog for the hunters in your life. So here we got the 10 speeds. I wonder if they will have. Oh, yeah. Okay, boom, right there. That was one of my first bikes that I ever had. Right there. Cowboys branded bike, because for about 2 minutes, I decided I was a Cowboys fan. There's my dog barking. I'm sure you can hear that. I was a Cowboys fan for about 2 minutes, just long enough for my parents to order the bike. And then I decided I was a Steelers fan. So when I got that thing, I ended up taking a lot of the Cowboys stuff off of it. But we found that little front piece when I was cleaning my dad's old house out. And I now have that nailed to my wall in my garage. Little memory. But yeah, that was like my first bike that I ever got. I remember those roller skates. Yeah, that was fun. Oh, here we got a little. Oh no, I guess not. I was gonna say, is that college? But no, it's just like fake logos on the helmets. Interesting. We got the baseball. But notice, like, baseball not getting nearly as much space as the NFL did. The NFL really went on a big, like, merchandising boom back then. I don't think they have it in this catalog. But remember when they had the we had a swing set like that. When they had the huddles that were just like little stuffed animals of the different NFL mascots, basically. I remember when they did that. Yeah, that was big. Oh boy. Okay, hold on. We're heading in some good stuff now. We got the Atari home computers. There's the, what is that? There's the 800 and the 400. So the Atari 800, $740, includes basic language cartridge, basic self-teaching guide, and basic reference manual. Comes with 48K RAM. Home computer, a powerful personal system for your home. No computer programming knowledge necessary. So $740. So again, we're going into the $3,000 range on that. The Entertainer, TV not included. Oh, these are the Atari starter kits. Okay, so you could buy this, Star Raiders and Missile Command with the joysticks. You got the Educator, that was the tape deck with, states and capitals and basic computing language. Oh, the Communicator, so you can get the setup so you can get online. with your Atari. So what did that's number 8. Let's see. It's over on this page. The communicator said, get the latest stock market info direct off the wires, 1 free hour of connect time each to Dow Jones News Retrieval Service, CompuServe Information Service, and The Source, America's Information Utility. Kit includes Atari Telelink, 1 cartridge, an Atari 850 interface module, and an Atari 830 acoustic modem. $350. Not cheap to get online back in the day. And that was an hour free, which meant you still had to get a subscription. Here's the answering machines. But that's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool. See, we weren't that far behind back in the day. Here's the Atari program library. So these are the cartridges for Atari home computers. And I know at the very end, they got some more Atari type stuff. And I think in television. So Pac-Man, $35 for Pac-Man. So that's what? 900. You'd probably be spending close to $110, $120 for Pac-Man back in the day. So when you're looking at some of the prices for computer games nowadays, that's probably pretty close, I would think. Lud's on CompuServe over at my rich cousin's house was my first online experience. Yeah, I don't think I ever was online until I was working at the place I'm working at now. I think that's maybe the first time. I don't know. No, my dad got me a PC when I graduated from college. I might have gotten online then. So there we got some telescopes, some binoculars, cameras. Oh, dude, some of these cameras nowadays, they go for a lot. We got some Bible stuff here. Holy Bible, the Living Christ, Proverbs. Only gets 1 page, but it's in there. Globes, which actually was a big thing for me when I was a kid. I loved maps. I wonder why I got into D&D so much. There's some children's stuff. Coins of the world. Remember you'd get those things where you're like going, oh, I'm a coin collector now. Because you got like the super cheap starter set of coins that anybody could get a hold of. Some more Pac-Man merchandise. Desk set. Oh, we got the Muppets. They're the Muppets, basically. Dude, Garfield. Garfield was friggin' huge. Rainey says it was the 90s before he saw the web. Yeah, it was probably 90s for me, too. It was probably 90s for me as well. Because we had a VIC-20. And then we got the Apple IIe. And the Apple IIe probably could have had something for that. I wouldn't be surprised if the Apple IIe could have gotten into like the old message boards and stuff, but we didn't have any of that. All right, here's the baby dolls. Good sellers. Here we got, is that John Wayne? The Duke, the F&B, that always kills me, F&B Legend Series. The Duke for $65. $65 back then. All right, here's all the baby stuff with the little cradles. And now, the perennial butt kicker in toys, whether we guys want to admit it or not, is Barbie. I mean, we love our G.I. Joe, Real American Hero, but the fact of the matter is, Barbie was here before G.I. Joe, and Barbie was here after G.I. Joe. And Barbie will probably be here 100 years from now. Dude, there's the friggin', it was like the townhouse or something. Had like the little elevator in it. I know, and look, even as a guy, you had to admit, like, that's pretty rad. Look at the car. That's kind of cool. Barbie had all the stuff, which I guess was part of the thing they did with that Barbie movie was like, Barbie had friggin' everything. And for Ken, not much. What is going on with his hair there? 16. Oh, okay. Black Malibu Ken. Okay. So he has a fro. All right. Dude, they made him kind of light. So I didn't realize it was a black dude, but they gave him quite the fro. Holy smokes. which, I mean, the hair on these things, whenever they had, like the rooted hair, that stuff would always get destroyed. Ken with his helmet hair is probably in better shape than most of those toys were in the long run. I remember my sister had Munchie Chi. I was showing that to my daughter because I think she loves the name Munchie Chi. I don't more than anything else. And I noticed the Munchie Chi cartoons are on Tubi at the moment. I was going to force her to watch them. Dude, Willie Tyler and Lester. We got Groucho and Mo and Charlie McCarthy and Bozo the Clown. Those ventriloquist dolls, dude, that was a mainstay of old, toy catalogs and stuff. Always had a page of those. Never knew anybody who had that. Oh, Finn's the Spook has the Stamp Collector Starter Book. Man of War didn't own an internet or PC till my divorce in 98. EverQuest got me through it. Yeah, I remember EverQuest. I never played, but it was out there. The art was out there for sure. Raimi collected baseball cards and hockey cards. I had a few football cards, but not a ton. They're action figures, not dolls. Well, okay. Some of them are dolls. I can remember way back when, early days of the internet, John Cristofalusi and those guys had lost control of Ren and Stimpy. They sold it out to whoever. And I know we won't get into John K's issues here exactly, but they had the Spumco website with some pretty inappropriate Flash cartoons on it when you get right down to it. They had cartoons on there back in the 90s that would have got them canceled in 2025 for sure. And they were iffy in the 90s. But I remember they had, you could buy a stuffed version of George Liquor, and they called it Dolls for Men was their line. Dolls for Men. I always think about that. All right, here's the stuffed animals, more girl stuff. These little heads that you could mess the hair up on. Crazy stuff. Is that I like that. Fashioned by Me. Okay, I thought that was maybe Migo had the Farrah Fawcett doll. I remember that. Again, if it's for girls, it's dolls. We just call that stuff dolls. For guys, it's action figures. Dude, that's kind of rad, though. Look at that little Jeep thing going there. One thing about Barbie is Barbie had some freaking rad cars. She had the friggin' red Lamborghini. She had I think an Austin Healey back in the 60s. She had the radio-controlled Corvette, which you're going, some girl got the radio-controlled Corvette, and her brother was like, how do I get access to that? I don't need no Barbie doll in it, but I'd like to drive that around the house. Dude, Light Bright, that was huge. I think I had one of these kind of Crayola things. I had something like that. Kind of rings a bell. Here's some stuff more for little kids. Little Sears typewriter for kids. That's kind of cool. Oh, yeah, here's these. Hey, speaking of these, I noticed that it was the anniversary of the Oregon Trail computer game, released December 3rd, 1971. I thought I would bring this out. This is something I got from my brother-in-law. I think it was my brother-in-law a few years back. If not, my wife can correct me here. But, let's see if it'll, is it going to, it's having trouble. But basically, it is the Oregon Trail game. I wonder if I can get a different angle, if it'll focus. There we go. It is the full Oregon Trail game handheld. So if you need to die of dysentery on the run, you can get it with this. It does have sound, which I think I have turned down. Let's see. You may continue game, learn about the trail. Let's see if we can. Oh yeah, the sound is definitely on. Supplies. Oh yeah, this is just sort of the how-to. Let's see, what does that do? Does nothing. Okay. Press enter to continue. Okay, continue game. Let's see if we can actually. Here's my supplies. Are you willing to trade? Heck no. I need what I got. It's a clothing. That looks a little messed up. Wonder if it needs new batteries. Anyways, I just thought I'd show that off. That they made this Oregon Trail handheld thing. Oregon Trail was rad. I remember my mother was a teacher, and she brought home a bunch of like kids' educational games that were definitely made for younger kids than me and my sister. They were for the Apple IIe. I had that rocking at the time. But it was like summer vacation. We were bored. So we're looking at these kids' games. And then we come to Oregon Trail. And oh my God, we played Oregon Trail like crazy that summer. Such an addictive little game. Look at that. Superman bopping bag. Look at that. Like a young Apollo Creed learning his craft. Oh, remember those boppy things that you'd bounce around on? I don't think I ever had one of those. Dude, check it out. Weights. Tone up your body for kids. We were strong like bulls. Oh, always had those in the catalogs. The dartboards. Always big. Microscopes. There's the Visible Man and Visible Woman. And the engine that you could like take apart and stuff like that. Yes, we still had the educational stuff. Going to put up pics of Room on the Atari Network Discord when I'm done. Okay, very cool. Original Tomy Blip handheld. Oh, that's cool. Hippity Hop. Oh, you're right. That is what they were called. Yeah, I don't know what I said. Oh, here's the stuff you could get for a kid if you hated their parents. The drum set. You know, and you could always pull it off as like, no, I thought Billy might, become a rich musician someday and you guys could retire. That's all I was going for. Kenmore too. Our little Kenmore Dream Kitchen. Oh my God. Dude, Kenmore was a freaking great brand. I don't know if it's even still around at all, but I think it's gone. There's a little frosty snowman. You can make snow cones. I'm telling you, even when I was a kid, a boy, I was like, easy bake oven. That's kind of cool. You mean I could like have cake anytime I want? Obviously, I didn't really understand how it worked. That your mom would probably have to mix everything up for you. But I just thought, hey, the idea of cake I didn't have to beg my mom for, that sounds pretty damn good. Why not do that? Look at that. Save $15 when you buy table and chair set, clothing tree, rocker. That's a fancy little rocking chair for a kid. Boom, I got that toy box. We still got the toy box that I had when I was a kid. Remember that well. But the football toy box, I always kind of wanted one of those. There's the little battery-powered 3-wheel cycles. How many batteries would that have taken? That's probably one of those big chunky batteries that they had. Hippity Hop pedal car Jaguar and a big wheel. Oh, dude, you were rocking it, man. I'm trying to think. I had a tricycle. Did I have a big wheel? I can't remember. I remember I got to ride one of those or drive one of those green machines. You remember the green machine? Dude, anybody out there, if you've never seen the green machine in action, look up the commercial on YouTube. It's on there. And I remember I drove the green machine right into a friggin' parked car because I don't think I grasped how those, because it moved with like levers. It wasn't like a steering type thing, or handlebars. It was levers. And I don't think I quite grasped it. And I drove right into a car. Again, thankfully a parked car. I don't think I damaged it or anything like that. Mr. Turtle Cycle. Because nothing says speed like a turtle. Oh, I remember those kind of wagons. Oh, those were cool. Grew out of those quickly, but those were pretty cool. Oh man, I remember begging mom and dad for quarters so you could like ride one of those little mechanical ones in front of a department store. I mean, a grocery store. God, that's pretty much gone now. Look at that. Lil Tot Rocker. $20. So about $60. Telling you what, though, I mean, some of the toy prices are about kind of the equivalent of what they are nowadays. They're not that far off, but you kind of appreciate a little bit more some of the stuff mom and dad got you for Christmas when you were a kid. Because, like, I think we were old enough to go, that costs $100. I'm probably not going to get one of those. Oh, that wasn't, well, let's see. I would have done that. We had just moved into the Vegas Valley, and the house we moved into wasn't built yet. So we were staying out in just like a little rental house in Henderson, which back then, Henderson and Vegas, there was desert between them. It wasn't like one big, now it's all connected. And I was not quite into kindergarten yet. So I would have been about 4. So that would have been, 76? Would have been 76 when I drove one of those green machines. Yeah. So that was Mark's Toys. I probably knew that once. And I remember those goofy things. I think they had one of those like with the Muppets or the Sesame Street characters. That kind of rings a bell. All right, let's see. Oh, I remember those. You find these all the time, like in doctor's offices. We had one of these. Oh, I think it might actually be in the garage. I grabbed a box full of stuff like that when we cleared out my dad's house, and I've needed to go through it again. Mostly because I'm like, I could probably get a video out of some of that Fisher-Price stuff. I think the boat might still be in there. That's like a little Mr. Potato Head looking thing. But it's not the full potato. All right, Sesame Street. Dude, I don't know what that is, but it looks pretty rad. Cookie Monster rolling around on a tricycle. Little kid stuff. So we're in the little kid section here. Don't worry. We're heading to the good stuff. But I paid $40 for this thing, so I'm going to milk this thing for all it's worth. I'm no fool. Oh, that's kind of cool. I remember those blocks. Yeah. Wait, what is that? Number 9, monster feet. Inflatable feet make a Bigfoot out of anyone. No way. $6. Well, and there's Mr. Potato Head. There's the real dude. I don't know if you could see those. I don't know if that's going to make it that much bigger, but inflatable monster feet. Dude, can you imagine how bad a kid's feet are going to smell after he's been tromping around in these inflatable plastic feet all day? Oh, dude, I remember that picture of the kid playing with those blocks. But, oh, dude. Yeah, I'm guessing that as soon as you were done playing with those things, Mom probably had your feet in the friggin' sink, washing them off. Lego. So we got some Duplo. There's the Lego Universal stuff. Got a helicopter, truck. Yeah, this is when the friggin' space Lego stuff started up. Oh, dude, which one did I have? I had the rocket. Let's see. God, I don't think I'm seeing it on here, though. The one that I had, it was like the little moon base with just a single normal-looking rocket. I wonder if these came out earlier. In the set that I had, it wasn't being sold at that point. We also got the castle medieval sort of Lego stuff starting up. I'm telling you what. Oh, the spin-out handbrake. Yeah, it did. Because I remember the older kid who owned it. It was like they were our neighbors for a while. He could do all that stuff. And now that I think about it, if I was 4, no wonder I couldn't figure it out. Good Lord. I mean, I wasn't the brightest kid in the world, but at 4, you're especially not that bright. But I'm telling you what, you try to find these things complete nowadays, like on eBay and stuff. Oh my God, Lego is not cheap. Now this is, I think, here's bricks blocks. So first you get the real deal, the Lego. Then you get the knockoff. But some of the knockoff stuff was kind of cool, honestly. Some of it wasn't too bad. And we got some Tonka. Those Tonka planes you can find in auctions a bunch. Yeah, they had their own sets. Oh, dude, there's the Erector set. 529-piece set without batteries. They got something that looks like the friggin'... Actually, oh, that's it right there. Look at that. It looks like something out of Damnation Alley. That's pretty rad. Columbia Space Shuttle. That hadn't gone wrong yet. Squirting Fireboat. It's amazing how much of our toy time, as much as nowadays it's like, it's all, action figures and stuff and all the old IPs, but like, we probably spent as much or more time playing with Lego and like Tonka trucks and Hot Wheels and Matchbox cars as we did playing with Star Wars figures. Star Wars is obviously the easier IP to keep going. Dude, check that out. Mr. Pibb. Dude, I drank the hell out of Mr. Pibb when I was a kid. Because we lived down in Arizona before we moved up here. My dad was in the Air Force. And we didn't have Dr. Pepper. It wasn't around, but we had Mr. Pibb, and I was into Mr. Pibb. And I can still remember moving up here and my mom getting Dr. Pepper and saying, well, it's the same as Mr. Pibb. Which, obviously, Mr. Pibb was the ripoff of Dr. Pepper, but for us, that's kind of what we had. Dude, check that out. Service station. Oh, that is rad. So here we got like a 12-car set, Hot Wheels 12-car set. Number 4. Oh, it says 13-car set here. Unless am I looking at a different set? No, because the numbers, it's got to be that. So that is $14. Yeah, so about $1. So about $3 each. So it looks like the little cars are cheaper now than they were back then. Oh, that just, I don't know if I teased something there. Oh, remember those play mats? I have the Matchbox or Hot Wheel, and I think it's Hot Wheel. I have the Hot Wheel garage. It's not that, but it's kind of like, it was with the fold-out thing. I got to do a video on that one of these days. I've been a little slow on some of that stuff. I've lost a lot of the stickers on it. Auto Fairy, that's cool. Oh, what are those? Stunt and Race with 5 the penny racers. Yeah, the penny racers. I remember those. Look at that. Darda, Treacherous Tower. I wonder if there's a toy commercial online for that. I'd like to check that out. That is pretty cool. Oh, come on, pages. The Duke Boys. Well, it was right about that time that the Duke Boys realized that they were in a spot of trouble. Look at that card game. Flash, Sheriff Roscoe's best friend. Oh, my Lord. And then you also got a bop bag with a freaking Boss Hog on it. That is rad. Oh, you could eat your Fruit Loops with Bo Duke every freaking morning. These I do want. I got the Mego Dukes of Hazzard. I just have Bo and Luke. I'm not going to go get them off the shelf because I'm going to knock something over while I'm doing it if I do. But I would like to get the smaller one. I think were those Mego as well. They don't always put like the brands, but the car set, pardon me, but you got the car set. Does it come with the 10-inch replica generally? Oh, with the Bo and Luke Duke. So, dude, that's $7 for the car and the little figures. That's not bad. $21. Probably 25 actually, more like that. 25 for 2 action figures plus the General Lee. That's pretty sweet. Oh, look at the play set. Yeah, the Boss Hog hat. It's like plastic. That's freaking great. Duke's Finger Racer. That sounds mildly wrong. Oh, here's the 4-piece car set. Now, I had the Sheriff's car and I had the General Lee. I did not have Boss Hog's car and the and Daisy's Jeep. I did have the other two. One of my favorite memories, I don't have that around, do I? We went to the Autorama. Anybody else remember the Autorama? Traveling kind of car show. We went one year when it was here in Vegas, and Tom Wopat was there. So I stayed in line to get Tom Wopat's autograph, by the way, on a picture of the General Lee. Sorry, Tom, but I was probably like 5 or 6 at the time. And I did a Sheriff Roscoe P. Coltrane impression when I was that age. And I did my Roscoe P. Coltrane for Tom Wopat. And of course, he told me it was really good because he was a very nice man. But that was a huge moment. And I still got that autograph photo somewhere. I don't remember where I stuck that thing. It's not reached anyways, but here we got Playmobil. Playmobil is, I think, a very underrated toy line. Against Smokies. That's nice. My dad hated TV shows, only like the news. Well, I remember my dad, when he got home from work, it did not matter what we were watching. It was time for the news, and whatever we were looking at, it was gone. We were watching the news at that point, which I actually kind of learned a little bit about the world, I guess, watching the news with my dad back in the day. But yeah, my dad liked TV shows. We'd watch a lot of that, and we usually would watch Dukes of Hazzard. Probably having Daisy on the show didn't hurt. But Playmobil, I think, is such an underrated toy line. They have so many cool setups, and now they're making ones like they got Smash Up Derby. I had that, man. Yeah. They have a Star Trek Playmobil thing with a big Enterprise. It's expensive as hell, but it's actually really, really cool. So the Enterprise, the saucer opens up, and you got just a giant, the bridge set basically. And they got Ghostbusters. They did a Knight Rider, and it's pretty legit. Here it is, folks. Oh, this was everything to me in '82. It was everything to me. G.I. Joe, a real American hero. Back to battle, the Cobra Command. And I want to say, they might have had stuff in an earlier catalog as well. I don't think they launched this stuff at Christmas, but you could get 3 packs of the figures through Sears. Now, I just remember the stuff at it was Sears or Penny's in their toy section where I first saw this stuff. And I think I just had the carded figures, but you could get them 3 packs at Sears. So let's see, $8. So about $28, $29, maybe $30 for a 3-pack. So $10 a figure. Which I've always said, if Super 7 could sell their 3 3/4 figures for $10, they would make a mint. I don't think they can profitably, but if they could, $10 to $15 range, I think Super 7 would have done a lot better. I had the Ram Cycle, I still do. I had the Attack Cannon, and I still do, and I still got that. Although I don't have all the pieces, I did not have the missile unit. And I had all the figures, but I didn't have Vamp, and I didn't have Mobat, and I wanted them badly. I didn't have that. I had Cobra Commander. I sent away for Cobra Commander. But I don't know if I had any of those. Here's the Rimco, Sergeant Rock, and I got that dude there. And I still got him sitting up there on my thing. And I had this. It was like the thinnest blow mold plastic you would ever find in your life that was designed to last for about 2 seconds. But yeah, the bike, with rock and roll was great for the bike. Yeah. I think I have Scarlett sitting on the bike right now on my shelf with all the G.I. Joe stuff. I think I had her sitting on it because it was really hard to get that figure to stand up. And she had the high heel boots, so there's no hole in the shoe in the foot to go on a peg. So you can't put her on the traditional sort of, pegged little stand. So I think I put her on the bike. I didn't have this, but I had the the Guns of Navarone set with all the little army figures. That's a different one. I dig that helicopter though. That is cool. So this looks like, let's see, battle action. Oh yeah, those are for the little fig. Oh, those are little army men. Okay. 35 attacking soldiers and 35 defending soldiers with a missile carrier, a rocket pad, 2 rockets, a cannon, a tank, 6 sections of plastic fence, marked boundaries. Weasel moves men and equipment, includes military strategy tactics information and instruction booklet. That's pretty cool. So you get a little strategy and tactics there. That's $10 for that set. That's a pretty cool. And so you notice this is just a, this is not a Hasbro Jeep, but they do pose it with the G.I. Joe figures to show that they'll fit on the Jeep. So that, let's see, military command vehicle, $20 for that. And what's attack vehicle G.I. Joe for $9. Interesting. Oh, this is radio controlled. Okay, that's radio controlled. All right. God, I still want one of those. I got a little list of like a few little old G.I. Joe things I wouldn't mind owning. This I thought was really cool. This is I think it's Remco, the Remco Monsters 3 3/4 figures with this glow in the dark haunted house, that would look great display wise. Here we got Lone Ranger and Zorro, Mysterious Castle, Masters of the Universe coming in this year too. So there's Castle Grayskull. Let's see, full price of $25. Is that all right? But obviously not with all of those things included, right? Could that be? Well, all right. Wait, 25 would be about, it's about $90. That would maybe make sense. That's pretty cool. So Castle Grayskull plus Man-at-Arms, He-Man, Beastman, and Skeletor. That's a good deal. But that I want to look up like on eBay and see if I can find that. Let's go a little close up on that dude. There's the monsters. And those things, they're out there, but they're not cheap. There's on Castle Grayskull, He-Man on Battle Cat. And here we get Star Wars. And this is the micro collection. Yeah, I didn't have any of those. I thought they were kind of cool, but so often when we were kids, it was like you sort of had to pick and choose. And it's like, I'd rather have the bigger action figures and vehicles than these. Like, I'm not going to really get to do much with those other than put them on a shelf. So I didn't have any of the micro stuff. This is just when Empire was floating around. So here we go. I had the Wampa. What does he go for? He was $8. God, I wanted that I wanted the AT-AT and the little Scout Walker so bad. And I remember I had like the Luke or Rebel in that outfit. I had Yoda. I still got Yoda. I still got my Boba Fett. I always wanted IG-88. I thought he was cool. I had the Dagobah Luke. I had that little medical droid dude, although I still got him, but the arms all came off at some point. So I'm really just holding on to him for nostalgia's sake. So the 3-pack figures here are going for about $8. So about the same as the G.I. Joes, maybe a little less. They were not as articulated, so they probably did cost a little bit less. That's good stuff, though. I still got my R2. I bought new stickers for him recently. I had this dude from the first time it was out. Sears exclusive, which I didn't realize. I had that. I still got it. I would love to tinker with it and get the voices working again, but probably never going to honestly do that. Oh, there's the Snap Together model. I had that, didn't I? No, I didn't have that. I had a model of the AT-AT. I remember that. I did have a model of it, which I actually put together pretty good. Play sets. Look at that. Get a little machine gun for the kids. Dude, which I played with that stuff like crazy when I was a kid. Let's see. Let me catch up on the chat. Smash Up Derby, mid-70s, motorcycle with rock and roll. Yeah. Favorite G.I. Joes, rock and roll, snow job, and shipwreck. Yeah. See, I had the original G.I. Joes, and I think my favorites were probably Snake Eyes, rock and roll, and Grunt. Because I always liked the just solid infantryman kind of characters in things. But from the next wave, I had Doc, because I thought he was cool. I didn't have the others. I never had any of the other ones. And there's a few of them I wouldn't mind collecting, like the vintage figures for. But let's see. Monster set, Super 7 remade in the 5. It might be. It might be. I don't know. I've talked about it a couple times, but Lincoln Monsters is doing some 3 3/4 monster figures. It did fully fund. What's kind of cool is you can take them apart. You can take the heads and arms and legs off and mix and match. And they're based on the Lincoln Monsters and the Tomland Monsters, but they're pretty similar to those Rimco ones as well. And I hope they're very successful with that line, because they'd like to do some other stuff. They'd like to do some ninjas and some other cool figures. So hopefully they'll get to. I had one of these. But yeah, those Rimco ones, they're not super cheap on eBay. Figure scopes aren't Universal Monsters though. Oh, Tower of Fear. Okay. Gotcha. All right. Yeah, I got the Super 7 Gilman figure because I really love Gilman. But I don't have the others. Gotta be careful. All right. Super Duper Double Looper. I just got rid of that. I had just the fragmentary pieces left of that thing in a box out in my garage. And we finally just gave it away, thinking somebody could maybe use it for parts. But for all I know, they took it and they just threw it away. I couldn't bring myself to throw it away because I was so excited getting that thing on Christmas. But I had the Super Duper Double Looper back in the day. And let me tell you something. I was absolute crap at those slot cars. I always gave them too much gas, so to speak, and they always go flying off the curves. And I tried so hard. I just was either going too slow or too fast. I never could get it right. And at that age, if I couldn't figure something out within about 10 minutes, it was dead to me. But I still loved that thing. It was glow in the dark. I was so excited about setting that thing up for the first time, turning all the lights off so you could see what it looked like. Oh, man. There's all the train stuff. Still big sellers back then. Oh, look at that. Remote control. Thunder Van. Die Hard. Oh, I love it, man. That reminds me of Colt Seaver's truck. I think it was a little different, but that's sort of like it. Sort of like it. Yeah. That's the remote control stuff, though, was always tough. Oh, you would have restored it for me? Oh, well. Man, I don't know if it would have been worth it. At this point in time, I have absolutely no place that I could even set it up really in the house. Not with my dog. Oh, Lord. He would lose his mind over that. I passed it along. Hopefully somebody out there will get it and do something with it and, get some enjoyment out of that stuff. Man of War. Got my first Monster AFX set. Dad mounted it to the sheet of plywood first after all my friends came over to play. My little bro dumped a whole Coke in the power transformer. Little brothers and little sisters. Oh. Well, my first Luke Skywalker figure. My sister has to hear about this today. It was my birthday. Got the Star Wars figures. So, God, I was probably like 6 years old, 7. She was little. She was little, in her defense. And she wondered if you could take the heads off of the Star Wars figures. And you can, but you can't put them back on. And so my father, because I was freaking heartbroken. And at that point in time, again, times were tight. So I was not getting another Luke Skywalker figure. That was not happening. So my dad took the figure and drilled a hole and used a toothpick, put a toothpick into the body and then put the head on the toothpick, but he glued it, so I couldn't take it off or anything like that. So his head wouldn't move, but it was still Luke Skywalker. Oh my God. I will never forget that. My eyes probably bugged out of my head when that happened. Because it was like probably within 10 minutes of me opening that present that it was destroyed. You notice somebody did take a chunk out of this page. I think it's the only page that has something out of it. Here we got the shooting galleries. Oh, look, dude, Fred Flintstone? Bedrock Bowling. Oh, my Lord. Did I know that existed? Oh, I need to look. I'm using this like a catalog now to go through eBay and find things that I damn well shouldn't be buying. Bedrock Bowling. That is great. That is great. So we got some of the traditional games here. Oh, there's Cootie. We were playing Cootie a lot. Yeah. Oh, Hungry Hippos. This is when Hungry Hippos was a solid piece. Now they sell it in chunks with plastic marbles. It does not work. It does not work at all anymore. But Hungry Hippos, we had fun with that. I had the Pac-Man game. I do remember that. I had Electronic Battleship, which was fun. But if you screwed up entering the coordinates of all your little ships, you were screwed. You were well and truly screwed. You had to start all over again with the whole thing. Oh my God, we'd be so careful. But the way the little buttons were, you could press a button and it wouldn't register. And so if you were going quick and now you got to start over again. Oh my Lord. But we loved that Electronic Battleship back in the day. These are like not full-size pinball tables, but these are pretty cool. These are pretty darn cool. I wouldn't mind having something like that. Again, where the hell I would put it, I do not know. No room, but that's kind of neat, especially for kids. I wouldn't be surprised if that was one of those presents for kids that Dad ended up playing with way more. Make sure I haven't lost any. Chats on. Oh, I had that. I had the Super Bowl one. And I'm trying to think. I want to say I had it was like the Dolphins. I don't know who the Dolphins were playing. Maybe Dolphins and Redskins? It might have come with Dolphins and Redskins. And then I remember my parents bought me the AFC West because the Raiders were my team at the time. They bought me the AFC West. And these things, it was definitely this one. Oh, wait a minute. No, it was Bengals 49ers. That's what it was. It was Bengals 49ers. Yeah. But that was the one I had, AFC, NFC. Yeah, it was the Super Bowl one. Boy, try to get that thing to actually work. Oh. It was an excuse just for my older brother to beat me. Oh, Lord. I don't like to hear that. Yeah, I loved Electronic Battleship. We used to play that a ton. We used to play that thing a ton. I have the old school Battleship up in the closet somewhere. We don't play it much, but here's all the chess, smart games for everybody. Quiz Whiz. Funny. Oh, here we go. We're getting into D&D territory. We're getting closer. First, though, the Rubik's, the pyramid, the snake. I used to play with that all the time. The snake was great. It was a great time waster. You know, because it wasn't like you were solving a puzzle. You were just doing the snake into different shapes and all that kind of nonsense. You could not do the pencil trick with 8-track. That is true. The Human Being, all involved little brothers, the racetrack, chewing the hands, feet off my Micronauts, and unspooling my Kiss Destroyer love gun. Oh my. Dude, your little brother was tough. I will thankfully say my sister, when she did that, was maybe like 3. And it was an accident. She didn't Yeah, more of my toys got destroyed by my friends, I think, than my sister. I remember one of them sat on a really cool like M16 squirt gun I had and broke it. I was pissed. I'm like, everybody home. I sent them away. Like, can't deal with you people right now. So here we go. Dungeons and Dragons. And we got, there's the basic set and expert sets. There's the dungeon board game. There's AD&D, Deities, Demigods, Monster Manual, Fiend Folio, DM's Guide Player's Handbook. The original covers. Now, when I got into this, it was 2 years later. I did have those sets, but it was the new covers, the orange spines, by the time I got stuff. Although, still the same cover for these books, but they had the new covers for the DM's Guide and Player's Handbook. And there's the, what is that called? Dungeon Dwellers Adventure Gaming Kit. What was that? Let's see. Caverns of Doom and the Wizard's Bane. So $18 for the basic thing. $18 for that. So again, we're in the $70 range, something like that. Dungeons & Dragons Computer Labyrinth Game. Holy Lord, $47. That's like over $100 in today's money for that little Labyrinth game. Wow. Did not realize that. Now, what is the first thing on here, though? Dungeons & Dragons Playing Aids includes 3-ring binder, graph paper for designing your own modules, notice the term modules, and 2 portfolios with assorted covers for $9. Basic set was $9, expert $9, and the rule books, Dungeon Master's Guide was $11. The rest of those are $9. That's, $11. So we're talking about what, $40 for the DM's Guide. But man, those things, they're still useful. So here's the miniatures. I told you there were some miniatures in this catalog. Fighting Adventurers and Dungeon Dwellers. Oh, wait a minute. I was looking at the wrong thing. Oh, I screwed that up. This is the one that's $47. This is $27. Okay. All right. But $18 for these sets of miniatures. Let's see. Figure. Each kit includes figures, paints, painting instructions, brush, rule book, gaming die, and map. That's not bad. With 18 figures in one. And the Wizard's Bane had one. Okay, Caverns of Doom. Oh, I see. Caverns of Doom is $18, and you can get a plastic figure to go with it for another $8. Not sure what the deal with that is. And then Fighting Adventurers, that was $10 with 11 fighters and thieves. I'm not sure. Is that Rob Partha? Yeah. What is this thing? I love how this dude gets stuck with D&D because will foretell your long-range forecast, gives your daily prediction, answers important personal questions. That's $50. $50. Hey, Danny, what's cooking, man? Yeah, you might, the stream will stay up. So if you want to get in or watch it from the beginning, it's definitely going to be there. So 14 is Dark. There's the Dark Tower game. That's $47. Tell you what, dude, it's almost cheaper just to buy the rule books and play D&D and to get some of these other games. Yeah, it's crazy. But there you go. D&D was starting to be there for the kids. And I got to think over the next couple years, the catalogs, it's going to be even more prominent. That's cool. Electronic games. I remember having that dude with the little cars, although mine looked different than that, I think. Yeah, I think I had an earlier version of that. There's that old baseball game. That was cool. Man, some of these are great. But again, these are expensive. More so than you would necessarily think. The driving game, that's $9. So that's not too bad. Instant replay football. That one, that's $25. The computer chess, though, is $110. So again, in current money, we're talking $350. $350. It would be cheaper just to find somebody to play chess with you, I think, than that. Is that the Magic Merlin? Is that what they called that? Missile Invader driving game, team play. Okay, what is it? 21. Yeah, Merlin and Master Merlin. Okay, I had a Merlin. I don't think I had well, I had one of them. I don't remember which one it was now. Master Merlin's $40. So again, we're talking like, $130, $140 for one of these things in today's dollars. Not all these toys are real cheap. And again, if you got some of these as a kid, start being thankful for your parents because they were probably paying more for this stuff than you realized. Always thought this Pac-Man game just looked cool. The shape of the thing. Always thought that was cool. Yeah, there's Defender. Got some Frogger in here. Spiders, I don't know what that is. Adventure Vision. What is Adventure Vision? Shimmering lights move across the screen and explode with action. 6x8-inch LED screen produces bright arcade-like images. Exciting sound effects. Joystick and push-button controls for 1 or 2 players. Includes Defender game cartridge. Accepts cartridges sold below, which are Turtles, a game of chase and rescue, Super Cobra, I remember Super Cobra, and Space Force. Protect ship from flying debris. That sounds like an Asteroids clone. Super Cobra, fly helicopters through enemy lasers. That's pretty cool. So that played with little cartridges. All right. I don't really remember that. Oh, there's the Vectrex. I think somebody's just made a miniature version of Vextrek. Yeah. Moral panic did end up taking a toll on TSR and Sears' relationship. Yeah. I got to be honest. I'm lucky, though, because I didn't get any of that when I played D&D. I remember my grandma being a little bit worried about it because probably stuff she'd seen on the news. But I was like, oh, no, you just... In the game, you fight bad guys. You don't fight good guys or anything or do evil stuff, which obviously you could if you wanted to. But and that was kind of the end of it, But she was a worrier, so she was probably still a little worried. But yeah, I didn't get any books taken away or burned or anything like that. So, I was pretty lucky in that regard because I know some people sure did. So Super Video Arcade or Mattel in television systems. In television, and they are now doing a clone of that, or like a new kind of retro version of that for Atari. I think it's one of those ones you can buy, and it has the games like preloaded. New Tron, Deadly Disc, yeah, you can see the one. Kind of make out the, I don't know what those things were called. Had the little, shaped kind of like this. God, it was so lifelike. Oh, my God. Donkey Kong. Oh, Mousetrap. Yeah. New Dungeons and Dragons for Intellivision. Very cool. Utopia. Armor Battle. Sea Battle. Snafu. Reverse. Night Stalker. Probably not a Kolchak game. That would be pretty cool, though. Sub Hunt. Triple Action. The Intellivision stuff was pretty cool, and we almost bought one. I remember going to, it might have been a Sears. I can't remember now, but going someplace and, my friends had Atari, so I wanted Atari. But of course, with my parents, like, no, if everybody else has Atari, we don't want one of those. So it was down to the Intellivision or the VIC-20. And my dad was like, VIC-20, you can learn to program in BASIC. That's useful. And you can play the games. We're going VIC-20. And so I got it, and I still got it in my closet, as a matter of fact. That has not been hooked up for a long time. Space Armada. New Math Fun. Yeah, I'm sure Math Fun got played a ton. Word Fun. There's baseball, though. Telling you what, some of these games, they were iffy. They were iffy. And getting them to work was a little iffy too. But it was just fun to play with it. There's Odyssey video game system that had the keyboard. And it was the very beginning. Plush Pac-Man is hungry for you. Wow. All right. It's a little upsetting. This looks more like is this the more Atari stuff? Because that's Pitfall. That was, I don't know, was Pitfall, did they have Pitfall for different systems or was that just Atari? I just always assumed it was Atari. Night Driver. I had something like that for the VIC-20. Haunted House. It's amazing the hours, though, that we played some of this stuff. And you look at it now, and it's so primitive looking, but man, we stuck with it. So here we go. 50th edition value, cut $4 to $20. So most of these, let's see. These are Atari. Okay. Oh no, these are the rip-offs. Okay. Because it says Dodger Cars, Atari's title, Dodge 'em. Maze Mania, Atari's title, Maze Craze. Dare Driver, Atari's title, Skydiver. Oh, Dare Diver, sorry. All right, so these are sort of some of the rip-off ones, going from like $20 to $13 each. So I'm telling you what, I mean, as primitive as these things are, they're probably not that far off some of the prices that they're charging nowadays for obviously much more complex video games, that took probably a hell of a lot more work. Although some of these, I mean, programming these might have been a lot of work. I don't know. There's like Video Poker. Oh, Circus Atari. I remember that. Remember the one that was the Human Cannonball? I remember us playing that a lot at my friend's house. We were terrible at it. We tried playing it here on one of the emulator things. Not emulator, but the little retro Atari things you could buy with all the preloaded games. And man, my daughter and I, we were killing that poor little dude. Like we could not nail that in right. It was a massacre. And we did one that was like skydiving. Oh, that poor little guy. He didn't stand a chance. But this, oh dude, come on. Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back. Look at that. The friggin' AT-AT. How rad was that? Ooh, I had Atlantis for the VIC-20. And it looked better than this, to be honest with you. I remember that. That was fun. It was kind of a lot like, I don't know, it was like a combination of Missile Command and Defender in a way. Cosmic Arc, I remember that. Laser Blast. Here we get some of the Ataris. So this is the Sears Video Arcade. So basically, this is Sears branding on an Atari for $150. So basically about $500 for this console in today's money. Includes 2 joystick, 2 paddle controls, plus exciting Target Fun cartridge. There's the Pac-Man. When that Pac-Man came out for Atari, oh my God. We would go over to my buddy's house next door, and we would probably play that Pac-Man for like, I don't know, 6 hours straight. How the hell did we play that game for 6 hours straight? But we did. And there we go. There's the newer Atari Video Arcade 2 for $190. And that, boys and girls, is the end of the Sears catalog. Here's the Kenmore on the back. Again, if I could buy some Kenmore appliances today without any computerized BS on them, I would very happily do so. And since it's Christmas, I will quickly just show off a couple things I got at the comic shop the other day. The Archie Christmas Spectacular and Christmas with the Superheroes facsimile print. You got a little Superman. You got the one Batman where he's singing carols with everybody. I just mostly love getting these on like nice paper, full color, so clean. Just nice. And we got a Sandman and Sandy story in that one too. So there you go. Just a couple facsimiles I bought. But I think that will do it for Dad's Den today. Really didn't talk about much of anything other than looking at the catalog, which is what I wanted to do. Hopefully I had fun going through these memories. I'm going to try to get some more of these maybe for Christmases yet to come, if this little channel of mine can survive. But, oh yeah, you can, my mother and father had a Kenmore washer dryer that they used for probably, they got it for their wedding as a wedding present. So they got married, 70, 71, right around there. I think it finally gave up the ghost. Oh, in the maybe early 2000s. Maybe early 2000s. Maybe even after that. And it was finally because my dad could not get the replacement part that he needed. And if he could have, they would have still been using it. Those suckers lasted. Danny, awesome to catch this. I want one of those catalogs. Yeah, like I said, I grabbed this one on eBay. It's like $40. It's surprising how much they go for. And you can see the cover is like kind of destroyed, but again, the interior is in really good shape. They're not cheap, and I mostly did it because I'd always wanted to at least grab one. This was the 82 version with G.I. Joe in it. That was such a big deal for me. And I knew I could use it on the channel for a good video. Hopefully we'll get some decent viewership on this dude. And it were a perfect snapshot of a classic Christmas. Appreciate it in the chat. And thank you. And I want to thank everybody in the chat. Ramey, Finns, Danny Roberts, Man of War, 665, Neighbor of the Beast. Am I missing anybody? I don't think I'm missing anybody. Well, Lady Gwendolyn, of course, making sure everybody's behaving themselves, including me, and probably correcting mistakes I made that I didn't see come through. I think that's who we had. Actually, I have a little thing I can hit to show me the participants. I guess that's at the moment. But at any rate, thank you everybody for stopping by, for watching. Of course, this is going to be still up, so if you want to go back to it and watch it again later, look up something in particular, feel free. It's going to stay on. And if there's anything in particular you would like me to look up for you for some weird reason, I'm happy to do so. I'd love to do it for you. But thank you for stopping by in Dad's Den. And we'll close with God bless everybody. Please be kind to one another. Have a little bit of fun out there this Christmas time. And I'll see you hopefully again soon in Dad's Den of Pop Culture. Bye-bye.